Overwatch is a class-based multiplayer first-person shooter developed and published by Blizzard Entertainment. It was released on May 24, 2016 for Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. This review covers the release version of the game on the PC. The gameplay in Overwatch consists of 2 teams of 6 fighting over objectives. There's 4 game modes: King of the Hill, where you capture control point for a set amount of time while repelling the enemy team; Payload, where one team tries to push a cart forward and the other team has to stop them; Control Points, where one team captures control points and then move to another control point after that one's been captured; and Hybrid, which is a mixture of payload and control points. Overall in Overwatch there are 21 playable characters, each with their own unique abilities and personality. Cooperative play is the key factor in Overwatch. Players must be able to cooperate and use their characters' abilities in tandem to properly defeat the enemy team. Overwatch also features a loot system. The more matches you play, the more XP you get. Once you level up, you unlock a loot box that contains cosmetic items. Sprays, player avatars, voice lines, skins for your heroes. All of those are in the loot boxes, and they're all random. There is an in-game microtransaction shop where you can buy various packs of crates if you wish. Overwatch also notably lacks any single-player content, but that's not really a big deal considering this is a multiplayer-focused game. But with all that being said, is the game itself any good? Let's find out with the good. Team play is important and fun in Overwatch. The game has very large hitboxes, and the aiming and movement systems are really quite simple. So the real deciding factor in which team is better comes from their cooperation and team composition, as well as their strategies. Combining abilities to devastate the enemy team or pulling off big plays feels better than good. It feels absolutely amazing and is incredibly rewarding. Setting up the perfect defense and shutting down the enemy team, or pushing through and making that big play and getting onto the point, is fantastic. And it's the reason I keep coming back to Overwatch. Another thing that I really enjoyed about Overwatch is that all the characters all feel really diverse and unique. There's a sizable collection of characters for each team role, and this means you'll usually find someone you like in each role. For example, if you like fast mobility, but your team needs a support class, you can go Lúcio. Alternatively, if you like to plant traps and support the team through building, Symmetra's a good choice. These 2 heroes serve the same basic function of supporting the team, but they do so in 2 dramatically different ways. The cast having such different abilities also leads to being able to change roles on the fly depending on what the team needs for that scenario. I also found that them being so diverse led to learning all of their abilities very quickly. Within the first 2 hours of playing the game or so, I knew each of the characters' names and their abilities off the top of my head. I also found that the game was fairly balanced. I have yet to run into one single character or strategy that is blatantly overpowered. Now, don't get me wrong, there are definitely some that are frustrating or annoying to deal with, but that's usually because I haven't come up with a counter for them or my team's having trouble dealing with it, not because the character ability itself is too much. Every character does seem to have a good selection of counters. For instance, a lot of players complain about Bastion, but switching to Genji, you can reflect bullets right back at him and take care of him pretty easy. And that's just one of many things you can do to take care of a Bastion, and there's multiple counters for every character. The game really oozes personality. All the characters' personalities are very diverse, and they all have very nice one-liners. It's got an art style that's very cartoony and funny. Because of the cartoony art style, the game also runs on very low-end machines while still looking good. The gameplay footage you're currently watching is from the PC version of the game, running at ultra settings with anti-aliasing turned off. I have a lower-end machine, and for me the game runs at a solid 60 frames per second with all the settings up except for anti-aliasing, as I mentioned. Here and there it dips in this footage, but that's because of the recording program, not the game itself. While in game, I experience no dips in my frame rate. Overwatch also lets you tinker with a ton of settings when in the options, even put up stuff like an on-screen display, showing temperature, ping, frame rate, among other things. Just a heads up, I found it important to set a frame rate limit. When I had my frame rate unlocked, my processor was just being run like there was no tomorrow at 100%. I locked the frame rate to display based, and it was smooth sailing from there. But not everything's so nice, so it's time to look at the bad. The Overwatch servers seem to have a large client-side priority. There are moments when you walk behind a wall, but bullets still hit you for a moment after you've taken cover. The server is relying on the enemy's client to see if you're hit. On top of this, Overwatch has a reportedly very low tick rate. To be fair, we don't know what the tick rate is for sure, but it definitely seems like it's low. This means that the server updates and communicates with the clients much slower than it does in other games. Blizzard seems to be pushing Overwatch to become the next big esport, and if they want to do that, they gotta fix this ASAP. Also, to be fair, the competitive mode isn't out yet. It's coming out next month, but as of the time of this review, it's not here, so the servers that I'm playing on are the normal matchmaking quick play servers. Another problem I had was matchmaking dropouts. Many times when playing, a friend of mine or I has been kicked out of the game because of a server error and we have to log back into Battle.net to play the game again. We also can't rejoin the previous match because the game has already put someone in our spot. It would be nice if there was a rejoin match feature and the game didn't automatically force someone into your spot. Another thing I'd also like to see is a bigger warning for team composition. As mentioned before, Overwatch is very much a team game, and as such, team composition is super important. When playing matches with random players, it's not uncommon for them to just play who they want regardless of what the team needs. Now, the game already has warning messages in the bottom right telling the team if they have too many of one character or too many of the same class. But I would appreciate if the game took the extra step further and perhaps has a pop-up on screen that tells the player selecting X character when there's already too many of X character on your team. Are you sure you want to select this? Or something of the sorts. I also found that play of the game should be tweaked a bit. Support classes have a much lower chance of getting the play of the game highlight than characters such as Reaper or Hanzo that have very powerful and easy to use ultimates. Now that's not a big deal, but it's something I like to see changed. I also ran into the one odd glitch. At the end of one of my matches, the texture started bugging out. At first I thought it was my GPU, but resetting the game fixed everything, and I've had no problems in anything else, so I assume it was Overwatch. But now it's time for my opinion. Overwatch is an incredibly fun game to play with friends, but an infuriating one to play alone because of the team composition nature of it. If you plan on picking up Overwatch, I recommend doing so with some friends. Overwatch has a great potential to become the next big esport if Blizzard works out some of the problems. As the game stands, I would absolutely recommend picking it up if you have a friend or two to play with. But now it's time for my rating.
I was wondering if I could take a look at your little robot.
Torbjorn really does have the best view.